What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights. Eagles, Giants preview. We're going to talk about it. Giddy up.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie sandwiches, Colwitz meatballs. You name it, mention A2D Radio, get 10% off your order. As always, Greg Mlakovic, Luke Brown. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, let's go, let's go. Phillies end the season press conference. We'll go over it. Everybody's back. We talked about that too, as expected. No, coaching staff-wise, as expected. We'll get into it, though. We'll talk about it. Eagles, Giants.
Interesting tidbits out of it.
Always is. You know what I mean? Always is. Eagles, Giants preview, score prediction, players of the game, you name it, and just talking everything like the life of a Philadelphia Eagles fan tonight. You know what I mean? What it's like to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. That's what we're talking about tonight. Because we you don't got to write a lot down. Make sense? Like, you don't have to be creative in any way, shape, or form to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, literally, people out there, right, that can barely even speak, could fire it up and have things to say. There's mutes out there that we all know that could have a conversation about this team, because there's always something to talk about. It's amazing. It's amazing. We are 3-2. We'll keep that in mind before we rattle it off and get after it tonight. The return of Saquon Barkley heads back to the Meadowlands. Doesn't think he's going to get booed. That's funny. Have a feel. You know, guys like Sean Spellman, I hope he drops in tonight. I hope our buddy Sean drops in.
Sean from Pine Hill.
Yeah, Sean from Pine Hill. They're saying, we're going to show you how classy we are.
Class and New York should never go in the same sentence. Unless the first word is low.
So, you know, he'll come in here puffing that they'll give a standing out. That's not happening. Okay? Just like it shouldn't happen. You know, he should get some boo birds. Right? That's how it goes when you go back home, when you leave. Right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
But our poll. Saquon Barkley will score multiple touchdowns in his return to MetLife Stadium. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Join the conversation, babies. Let's go. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, right? No Mulata. So that hurts your offensive line, obviously, because he's just a specimen. Yeah. You would think, like, defensively, they're going to want to get after him. Right? Just natural. Former teammate. Now you got a chance to really lick him a little bit. You need to lick your chops a little bit, right? To get a hand on him, to get a pad on him, right? So I don't think he's going to score two. I don't think he scores two. I think he goes over 100 with a tutty, because he's a guy who always got to break one in him. You know what I mean? He's got to break. He's got a house call at any carry. So I'll just say he doesn't get 2 touchdowns, because like we don't go. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes I would say we don't go to New York and score a lot of points, and other times we have. But I don't know how much confidence I have in this offense, like against anybody right now, putting up 30 until they do it.
Facts.
Right? So, I mean, I'm not going to go out on a limb and be like, one guy's going to score 2. Right? One guy's scoring 2 in his return home. No, because if we're close enough to the end zone, we're going to get tushy. All right? We're going to get tushy with it.
Yeah.
So I disagree. Okay. He doesn't score 2 touchdowns. You know, our lucky with Darius Neal in MetLife Stadium. I mean, if you want to Eagles season go, I didn't want to say that out loud, but I did. Right?
It's one of those things like now we popped that cherry.
Did not want to say it out loud, but I feel like you know, I exercised the demons by saying it out loud. By saying it out loud, I feel like I cleared the air with it. Like, that's not going to happen now. We're clear. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I absolutely disagree as well. And a lot of it really has to do with the fact that they're the only team in the NFL that hasn't scored in the first quarter. So at that point, how many touchdowns really are there in the rest of the game? Not all that many. So I'm going to say less than 2. And I kind of feel like outside of last week, he's the only Eagle that really, and AJ and Devontae too, I guess, that really haven't had a bad game, and you can't really put the blame on them. So it's kind of hard to, kind of diss Saquon. I'm not going to do that. But they just don't score in the first quarter. They don't do it, and I have no reason to believe that they will. And this kind of goes back to what we've talked about in recent weeks and how horribly coached they are. And it's not a secret at this point. I feel like going into the season, it was kind of a hot take to say that because of all the new additions and how easy it was to be excited. But now at this point, it's pretty clear to anyone who has any clue of what's going on in the NFL how bad we are coaching-wise. So I don't see them scoring many touchdowns at all. So I'm going to say no, disagree.
Interesting.
Right. Umberto, what up, brother?
What up, Umberto? Yeah, I'll agree to the poll. I'll agree. I do think it's going to be tough, though. The defense for the Giants is probably their best unit, so it's not going to be easy. But I think the dynamic probably is.
It is. Yeah, guys, sorry.
Their defense is the best part of that team, but I think the dynamic way that we can get Saquon the ball in multiple different ways through the passing game, even though we don't do it, and the rushing game is what's going to provide that. And also, I think Saquon, not only is this a big game for him, but he's coming off probably arguably his worst game of as an Eagle.
Not
right?
Even close.
He didn't have a great game. He was instrumental. It was his fault that let's just call it like it is, that field goal got blocked at the end of the half. Right, you didn't pick up the first down, and you olayed the block coming in for the sack. So I think he's going to put more pressure on himself, which I think for a guy like that is what you want, though, right? Like normally you don't want guys putting pressure on themselves, but I think Saquon's that type of guy, that type of player that you don't feel that's going to overexert himself mentally. So yes, I agree to the poll. He will have 2 tutties this weekend.
All right, well, you're not alone. Jonathan says, evening, guys. Agree to the poll. Saquon scores 3.
Oh, hat trick.
The greatest show on turf finally arrives at MetLife. Maybe that's our breakout game. Maybe this is our breakout game. Maybe this is where, like, Jalen throws 45 passes over the middle of the field, and we're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We start glazing again.
Yeah, we're back.
Tommy, it's something you mentioned, though, too, in your opening was the return of the tush push. It got kind of annoying on Sunday. I don't know about to anybody else, but it got annoying that it was just every 4th and short, 3rd and short, we were lining up for it. I don't know if anybody else felt that, but it was just like just got so annoying because it felt like that's what we were doing. That was our game plan. 3 downs, tush push. 3 downs, tush push. There was no actual offense being run.
You're amazing. You're an amazing human being too. Like you're just amazing. I love you because you're like. Because you're just like, yeah, you just get annoyed by things. Like, you know what I mean? Like little things like that.
Like run an offense.
Yeah, but it's automatic in 3rd and inches, so I get it.
Sure, no, I get it.
I get your annoyance. I absolutely right with you. This team's annoying right now.
Play football here.
There's a lot of annoying things with this team, so everything bothers us. Even
that's where
even stuff they're successful with. Like they're successful with it. Nobody's better. I can't. Right? And you despise. You despise. You can win a Super Bowl by just tush pushing, and Greg's out.
I'm out. I'm not. I'll skip the parade.
I think it just goes to the point of they're not likable right now.
Yeah, very much so.
And why is usually that the case?
Oh my God!
When you don't like the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have every jersey in your closet, right? Every jersey you open up your closet, you're like, ooh, like you get the NBC football music when you open up it. You're opening up, you got so many jerseys in there. But if you don't like the coach of the team, it's hard to rally around the team. Yeah. And it's not just that, right? It's not just the coach. I think it might be hard to like some players right now too.
100%.
It's just there's a weird vibe around this team. I mean, I know there's people out there that are painting faces and they're going to, and it's all pom-poms and everybody's a cheerleader, right? And they got to do that. Like those guys, because that's their persona, they got to be all cheerleadered up. And then there's the real guys that be like, man, this team, it's just a different, I don't get, like when they lost 2 games this year, usually that ruins my week. It did not. Is that weird? First time in 42 for me. You know what I mean? 42 and counting. First time it's never ruined my week. Even my wife's like, "You're good," and I'm like, "I've never been better." They don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? No,
it's definitely the vibe. I mean, like I said, when I was in Tampa, I was ready to go at halftime. Hell, first drive, I was like, I know where this game's ending. See you, let's go. And it's just a shame that like you force people to spend an enormous amount of money to go watch their favorite team. And you're right. There's just a certain group of players and the coaching staff that you just hate. Like you don't even want to support them, even though you know it's what you're doing every Sunday or Monday or Thursday or Friday or whatever other days the NFL plays on these days.
Say all week long. But at the end of the day, like I mean, as the season gets a little deeper, you'll get. I know I'll live on that loss.
Sure.
Right. Early in the year, we're feeling them out, and my feel's been. I haven't felt good. I mean? I haven't felt good with my feels. That's all I'm saying. My feels have not felt good. Jonathan says need this game to be a breakout game and go on a streak. No idea what's going on with our head coach. Neither does his barber. You know what I mean? Neither does
Brittany probably has a better idea of what's going on.
Yeah, Brittany, bitch. I can't with it. I mean, the shaved head just tells me you're in an insane asylum. Like, what are you doing? Where are you at? You good? Most guys don't go with the 1 or the 2 cut, like with hair during the wintertime. Like most guys aren't trying to.
That's when you grow out the locks.
Yeah, most guys aren't trying to take layers off.
Trying to grow the flow, as the kids like to say.
You said G.I. Jane. Yeah, Jane Nikki. Yeah, Jonathan's right. Jonathan's right. We went from the Phillies to this. I mean, it's amazing. Our lives are amazing.
And then you just said something about Jared McClain and Paul George. So, Jonathan, it doesn't end.
Here we go.
It doesn't end, Jonathan.
Yeah.
He might have died. He might have died tonight. Like he semi-died on the court. We watched Jared McClain like semi-die. He couldn't breathe. Like I'm not joking. Like
I hate to laugh, but it's our curse.
There was concern tonight about like can he breathe? Did he break did he puncture both lungs? Like he landed hard on his back, and you're like, oh my God. And like the little bit I saw of him, I liked him.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Amazing. I was seeing where those haters are at.
Like he doesn't do anything like not elite speed. We'll get into Sixers, right? But like not elite speed, nothing like that. But he passes well. He plays good defense.
If you can shoot the ball like that, you can always be on the court. Always.
You can paint your whole body.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're painting. You can be like, yeah, guess what Jared painted? He painted his dick tonight. I don't care. I don't care. He hit 7 threes. I'm good. Paint an ass cheek too. Like do what you do you boo boo. I don't give a shit when you play. It's like Caleb Williams. Paint whatever you want. When you're the real deal, paint it all. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Because that cat's the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's starting to show it. He's starting to play very well.
And I didn't even think about like him getting a C too on the jersey.
Yeah. I mean, it is the Bears.
I don't give a shit who it is.
The Bears.
I hear you, but you still gotta earn a C.
That's true. No, you don't.
If you're aloof, you know what I mean? If you're a little bit aloofy and people don't like you, there ain't no C getting.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
So something about those nails. You know what I'm saying? Milkshake brings the boys to the yard. I don't know where I was going with this. I don't know where I'm going with this. But yeah, back to the Eagles. They're unlikable, but we want to like them because they're not fully unlikable.
Right.
Like there's a lot of likable players.
On paper, they have a lot of likable players.
Like we haven't talked about Quinyon Mitchell's been dominant as a rookie. Like that's a home run pick. And we were and we rightfully, Luke, were what? Like on draft night, like high upside Toledo though. Like okay.
We're just nervous of the background, right?
Of the school.
And I'm not saying background, but of like the competition in the schools and stuff.
Then
like
we heard Saban, but then we heard from Nick.
I was just gonna say, This
is what we don't know. Then we heard from Nick, and we're not Nick Sirianni, Saban. All right, we heard from the real coach. Right, we heard from Saban how bad he wanted him to go to Alabama, but the guy wanted to stay where he was at. Like so, he wasn't trying to. That's something to be said in today's day and age of sports.
Yep.
Right. Guy wanted to just let me finish what I started somewhere. All right. Like where your head's at, kid. You know what I mean? But he's been everything you want out of a pick that high, right? And then Cooper comes in, and Cooper's played really well. Obviously, I know everybody told me. I get it. Their offense stinks in Cleveland. I understand this, but we played against bad offenses and got torched before
Totally.
too. So any positives is a positive at this point defensively. And guys,
but when you're all over the field, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
Exactly.
Right? You know what I mean?
True.
He was in the backfield. He was doing well in the secondary. I mean, and plus when they're that young, I saw him go up against Amari Cooper, no problem. So, I mean, when they're that young, you can take certain things and think they're going to stick and get better.
Well, how about this too? First white cornerback ever in like 2 decades to get a sack.
2 decades.
I mean, that's amazing. Think about how bad we've been at corner.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like we've been horrendous at corner.
They have 3 young guys that I'm very confident in moving forward. That's a position group that, 5 years from now seems to be pretty much settled with those 3 guys.
Oh, yeah. That's the Lito Sheldon game, right, Luke? Greg?
Yeah. Are you throwing Keeley in there as well?
Yeah, Keeley. I mean, he's like the 3rd guy, so I don't know if I'm all that confident in him, but I definitely want to see what he has.
I'll tell you what, every time he's on the field, he's there.
Yeah, I like
good, bad, or indifferent, right? But he's there every time he's on the field.
A little slow for my liking, but he's very good, talented.
No, he's super talented, and I like guys who are willing to hit and willing to get their beak wet, and you can live with some other deficiencies for aggressive players. You need some of them. This is football, right? This is football.
And it's nice.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's nice of how they did it, whether they planned it or not. But as the Bradburys, the Slaves are on their way out, you do have this crop of young secondary guys because you got to throw in Reed back there too. Sidney Brown,
yeah.
right? Sorry, Sidney Jones in my head, but Sidney Brown coming back from injury, right? So we're able to replenish these guys, veterans and these older guys with some young, really good, talented kids, while also getting them some experience before they are top dogs and ready to go.
Yeah, let's just hope they can get some, better edge rushers in the future too. I mean, it's funny we're talking about the future, but this team's built. Yeah, this team's built to win right now. So it's funny we're talking about the future. I also think that they're better off playing these guys right now.
Yes,
all these younger guys right now, like easily. I mean, you see Slay. I'm not saying he's had a horrible year, but even when he's putting together good things in a row, he then gets hurt. You could tell he's losing it, at least, durability-wise, at the very least. You could say he's losing in other ways too. But they should be playing over the older guys anyway, regardless. I mean, even Slay gets out of that game, they still don't give up a touchdown. And Bradbury hasn't been in the mix at all, so I'm totally fine with playing these younger guys the whole way.
Yeah, they won't. Right?
No, they won't. Yeah.
But though, I mean, listen, we got two.
Slay's the only one in the lineup, though. To your point, right? Until this week when he got hurt, right? But he was the only one.
Yeah.
They moved on. They moved out Maddox for Cooper.
Yeah.
Which was
nice. If there's one thing about Fangio, he doesn't give a shit where you're from, how much money you're making, or anything like that. He'll tell you like it is, and he'll tell the media like it is too. He's been, honestly, out of everyone, he's been far and away the best coach on that coaching staff without even that. You don't even have to think twice about that, because you can talk and argue about what talent may or may not be there on the defensive side of the ball. I still don't love Nakobe Dean. Zach Bond is unproven, but he's had flashes. I don't know if he has all the talent that these other defensive coordinators do, and they've been producing at a relatively high level, especially recently. He's been up there.
They make adjustments, right? We talked about, off air, we talked about, Penn State defense making adjustments.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles, and to your point, Vic Fangio, the defense makes adjustments, right? That is the one thing. Even though they were shitburgers in Tampa Bay, they came out but in the second half, they put the clamps down and only gave up 9 points. And if you have a competent offense, which we all thought we did, you should be able to come back in a game, maybe not win it, but make it competitive, right? Make it close. And we had chances, but our offense just failed us in that. But you're right. For the most part, our defense, even if they get off to a bad start, at least shows the flashes and the ability to make adjustments down the line.
Yeah, listen, he's a good coach. We know this, right? And then it comes to personnel and then finding out who are your best players, and that's what the beginning of the year is for. So, I like that. They didn't care about the money side of it. And Cooper's better than Avante. Good, he's playing. Now, I don't think they'll do that on the Slay game, right? I just don't think they'll do that one. And that's okay because, again, that's the really only, aging player on your outside or back end, right? So you're good there. We're fine. That's a secondary that can play together for a minute. And Kelly's got room to grow and learn. So there's also something to be said about that, of developing a player too, like when you talk about a Kelly Ringo. So that's all right. And then the front at least had a pulse this week. Regardless who you're playing, you still had a pulse. So that's positives, and you got young guys up there. So you just hope we can get better.
Yeah, you like to see them beat up on offensive linemen or offenses in general that they should beat up on, right? We've gone through games where we have a weak offensive line and a statue quarterback, and we don't touch them, right? Like this is like the Falcons game, right? We didn't touch Kurt, and he sliced us up. At least we got to Deshaun this week, right? At least we got there and got pressures, and to your point, had a pulse. And I think you're going to need to do that this week. I mean, Danny's obviously a lot more mobile than most of the quarterbacks. Yeah, Baker's mobile, but he's more runner-ish than Baker, right? But he's going to be the most mobile guy that we're going to face so far this year. So you're going to have to, rush, but rush in with integrity and keeping your assignment so you can keep him in the pocket, because he can be had, but if you leave wide open gaps, he's off.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a discipline game. Right?
Yeah.
It's a stay in lanes game.
Is Neighbors out again?
No, he's going to play.
Is he going to play?
Yeah. And this is a scary one too. I mean, I'm at the age now, I'm looking at the books and everything like that. Somehow they're only a 3-point favorite, which doesn't make any kind of sense to me at all. This is key Vegas trap game. I don't understand the line whatsoever. That scares the hell out of me. But to be honest with you, I can't say I would be all that surprised if they drop it, because I just think they're the most undisciplined team in the history of football in terms of what you have in your arsenal weapon-wise. I just don't understand how they can be this unprepared each and every week. So I would not be surprised at all if they drop the game.
I'm never surprised anymore with anything.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. This is a game they have to win. This is a roster that's built to win. It's a football team that we talked about their expectations this year. This is a game where, even if New York, has success on offense to a point, right? This is a game where you should go be able to put up 28 too. I know their defense is good, but again, we go back to how good this offense is supposed to be.
Yep.
And we can't run from that. And this offense has to go prove it. Because we talked about this 4-game stretch starting with Cleveland, how important it is. Well, you got one, and now we, as we get further away from that week, it's just a win, right? It just becomes a win. Doesn't become all broken down anymore, right? So you just go get another one. It's about stacking them.
Yeah, and now it's a division game, right? Division game, so it means a little bit more. But like we said, this is that part of that group right out of the bye, which, I mean, you should be 3-1, if not 4-0. And anything less than that is this team has a lot of issues then. Right. And I agree with you. It wouldn't shock me if this was a game that they put down just because of how we know they are over the last, 2 years. But yes, this is a game that they have to win, and they should. I'm just looking at the injury report. And their tackle Andrew Thomas didn't practice today. Dexter Lawrence didn't practice. Brian Burns didn't practice. Now, it doesn't always mean that they're not going to play.
Yeah.
But they didn't practice today. I know Thomas is a foot, Burns is a groin, Dexter's a hip. But to your guys' point, Neighbors did practice. Singletary practiced as well. But Singletary practiced all last week light and didn't play. So it'll be interesting to see what what happens, what we get from the Giants standpoint.
Well, I know Thomas is out I think they said he should be out for the season.
Okay.
So he's definitely not going to play. So
yeah,
I mean,
I thought Thomas was definitely out, at least for this game. I didn't hear the season, but I knew he was going to be not in for this game.
Yeah, you would hope that Bryce Hall finally breaks out against a backup offensive tackle on the Giants.
That'd be nice.
You would hope. You would hope, but no faith there either, of course.
0.
Yeah.
But going back home, had success on that turf. So
Yeah.
Bruce says Watson just wanted to get whacked off. Yeah, probably. All right, Bruce.
I love it, Bruce. Real quick injury report from our side. Dallas Goedert did not practice.
Shocking.
Jordan Mailata, obviously, and Milton Williams didn't practice with an ankle. Limited was Oren Burks, Jalix Hunt, and Darius Slay. Sidney Brown, Albert O, and Aeneas Smith were full participants in practice.
All right. Williams' ankle. I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, that's a new one to me.
And not a lot, though.
No, and outside of, obviously, Mailata, Goddard, and Slay, I mean, those are the only – well, Williams is a starter, but those are the only impact starters, really, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, if people are talking about Max Crosby and stuff, that's not happening.
No shot.
Carlos says, would you rather have Crosby, Crosby or Miller from Buffalo or Garrett from Cleveland?
Garrett. But that ain't happening either. I saw because people are bringing up
I got an interesting question for you when you're done.
People are bringing up a quote that he made, which who knows the actual context of it. Basically saying how he would want to play here one day. This is like probably a year ago now that he said it.
Yeah, so I think it was last spring training.
Yeah,
training
all right. Like if we want to really have fun and really get, fantasy land, we could act like, okay, you're paying a quarterback a shit ton of money and you literally have no way out of it because it's all guaranteed. You might as well flip your best player for some draft picks, I guess. You could make that case, but I still don't see it happening.
Well, I heard this the other day. I want to run it by you guys real quick. If Cleveland calls and offers Myles Garrett for nothing, essentially, right? Late round pick, but you got to take Deshaun with him, just a contract. I mean, you can do whatever you want with Deshaun, but you got to take his contract with him. Do you do the deal?
I don't see how that would work out. Well, no, because I don't think that's even possible because his contract's fully guaranteed. So I wonder how that would work out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you're not essentially sending. They're just giving Garrett away because they know the only way for them to get away from Deshaun's contract is to attach him to a guy like Myles
I still
Garrett.
wouldn't do it. I don't even think they could afford that because Myles Garrett's making a shit ton of money too.
I think he's only making 20 a year.
Yeah,
I don't think it's astronomical, but
I couldn't.
When you add Deshaun, it might not work.
I couldn't do it.
I
wouldn't do it. I think there's other guys out there you can get for cheap. I saw someone say earlier, because Darius Smith's a very good player. He's also on that team. And if you get him around a lot of other guys, I think he could be productive. I think there's too many names that could work that they could get for cheap that I wouldn't do all that.
I hear you.
That's a bad I mean, somehow we got out of Wentz. We made that look easy. That's not normally how that works. I'm good.
Yeah,
Tommy,
I'm good on
do
that.
You do it?
Nah, I can't.
I do it. Because I also, this is where Howie thrives, though, to your point, Luke, right? Like, he got out of Wentz. He's gotten out of other bad contracts. This, I think, is where he thrives. So give him a contract. Maybe he could restructure it, kick the can down the, and we just say, go home. We don't want to see you. We don't need you. Just go home. But we'll take the contract because we're getting the best defender in football, essentially. Two or three.
Yeah, I'd rather just give up the picks.
Just to get him alone?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd give up a first. I'd give up a first-round pick.
I would do that for sure, but
I'll give up two.
Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, Josh Allen down in Jacksonville is probably available.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go, that route. There's definitely guys.
I like Matthews. Shout out Trey Hendrickson, too. That's a good one. I like him a lot. He's on a pretty
from
bad
Cincy,
team.
Yeah. We'll see him next week. He'll probably have a monster day and light up his his offer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what he does there. I don't know. I mean, you can never put it past Howie, but I don't know if Myles Garrett. I think it would be a lower level guy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, people talk about Von Miller. I don't really care for Von Miller anymore.
That's another guy making a lot of money too.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right at this age.
Yeah, no.
And I don't even think he's that old, actually. I mean, I think he's 32, 33. But he's
football
old he is.
I mean, we should let it be known, though, like while we're all talking about older guys, Brandon Graham has probably been the most reliable edge rusher on
Not probably.
Yeah.
There's no probably about it.
Yeah, like I'm all for bringing in guys that are old. I don't really give a shit because it's working out there.
He just got suspended, though, Von Miller.
Yes, he did.
Or he's just coming back from a suspension. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, early October for violating conduct policy.
He's had some issues too. I'm good on him.
Yeah.
He's had some off the field things, I believe, as well. So
that's what got him suspended.
Okay. Yeah. So
allegations of assaulting pregnant girlfriend.
Scumbag.
There you go.
Yeah.
Scumbag. I mean, maybe not true. I don't know. Again,
allegations,
right? You don't want to put it past people.
But I don't think it's his first rodeo, which I think is what drew the suspension, right?
Not his first rodeo. Sorry, I was scrolling for something, and
No, you're good.
And of course, I see AB tweet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is he available? Can we sign him?
I'll try to get a little closer here.
I can't tell. I'll see it though.
Oh, come on.
I can't tell what it is.
I can't believe that's not clicking in. See the Ghostbusters?
Oh, that one. Okay, so it's Bill Murray. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just don't know why that wasn't triggering in for us here. I mean,
I just couldn't see with the glare. And so I couldn't tell that it was Bill Murray.
This guy got me. Aftermath of the Diddy party. Bill Murray and Ghostbusters.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Got a lot of slime on them. Slime. Oh, while we're at it, 2024 postseason bullpen numbers.
Wow.
Phillies 11.37 earned run average.
That's it.
Next, they were 12th out of 12 teams. The 11th team, the Brewers, 5.65. That stings.
Oh,
that stings.
Too soon. Never too soon. 4-0 Dodgers, top 6 over the Mutts.
What channel is that on?
FS1.
Dude, of course. I'm flying around for it. Can't find it.
There you go.
Oh, the greatest postseason hitter of our generation went yard. Kike Hernandez. Joe Smith's never going to leave that down. I don't even know if he understands what he's done. Greatest World Series or postseason hitter of our time is what he was called. One of. Yeah. Kike, do you love me?
What's his postseason?
He's got really good postseason numbers. I'm not saying he's hasn't been very good, but I mean, let's be real here. I'm gonna pull up his stats. Postseason batting.
What up, Derek?
Derek.
I mean, said nobody ever, Jonathan. Dodgers and Yankees finally.
God.
I mean,
I'm barely watching this, let alone watching anything. He's got 14 homers, 30 RBIs in 77 games. I mean, he's got a 277 batting average. Nothing that's good. but that's not like greatest hitter of our generation type of talk.
Well, he's
You know what I mean?
also,
Like, I mean, it's and he's been on 7 teams. Not really. I mean, Dodgers, Boston, Dodgers again.
I mean, he is a Dodgers announcer.
Right. No, 100%.
So you fall into that. You
So
know
he's
what I mean?
he's got that glaze for sure.
Yeah.
And naturally he's been on really good teams, so it's obviously gonna show up a little bit.
Guys played 77 postseason games. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of postseason baseball. Right? That's a ton of postseason baseball. Carlos says, what'd you say, 54 what? Ribbies?
I was gonna say 54 hits, 7 doubles, 14 homers, 30 ribbies. I mean, it's really, really good, but not like talk of greatest of our generation. Jesus.
Mr. October. You know what I mean?
I mean, he hit 200 in a World Series.
He's Reggie Jackson. He's Reggie.
071 in an NLCS. He hit 161 in the DS, 133 in a World Series. Come on, Joe. He had early in his career. He went 0 for a series. Come on, Joe.
Joe don't know.
Carl
said, would you guys be upset with Howie if he didn't make a trade move?
Yes, absolutely. That doesn't mean you got to get somebody. But if this thing falls apart and you're 3 and 4 or something like that, and you know inevitably you're going to fire your coach, I at least want to dangle Slay out there and see if a contender will take him for anything. Like, at that point, you have to do something. And if not, then yes, it is to bring an edge rusher here if you're really serious about this year.
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks, right? 2.5 weeks. November 5th is the trade deadline. So that's the Tuesday. Yeah, the first Tuesday in November. A couple of days after the greatest day in the world. But no, I would agree. I would absolutely agree to that statement that I would be upset. I would be upset for that. You know. I only said it once though, Martian. Did I say it again? Did it pop out again? That's what she said. I did use it early on.
Oh, guys are all over you.
I love it.
John says, are you guys going to go into offensive calls, different coordinators, same song? What is the same, John? What's the same, Johnny?
I mean, I saw something on Twitter. It's like the route tree of Devontae Smith and a route tree of a guy like Keenan Allen or maybe CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup, one of the guys that Kellen Moore used to have. Not the same. So then it kind of comes back to who's really in charge and what is really being run out there. Because in the first week, you saw a lot of motion, and they put up 30 points. Yeah, he turned the ball over 2 times, I believe. It was only twice, maybe 3. I think 2. I mean, at what point do you question who's actually running things around there? I don't really understand it. It's not the same if you really look at that. The motion just went away. I'm not sure what happened with it. Maybe over the bye week, they thought, hey, the problem is we're running too much motion. Don't get how that would be their
I thought it was one of their strengths, right?
Totally. I don't get it.
What they did early on with Will Shipley in the game, that those couple series where he just ran all over the field.
Don't even see him anymore.
You don't see him on the field.
No.
And then even the first week or two that we had Dotson, because he obviously wasn't up on the playbook, or maybe he was, bro, but he was running all over the field, going from one side to the other in motion, and I just thought it was really effective. But why would we continue to work on something or use something that's been effective for us?
Yeah, and you said it earlier that Saquon missed that on the 3rd and 1. There's certain things you can take and certain things you don't after a game, the press conference. One thing I took is that Nick said, yes, that was my call. So the few things that we've noticed is in the Falcons game, it was his call. In this game, it was his call. It's his call when to go for it. It's his call when to yell at the fans. So it really just seems like every time he butts his head in anything, it goes wrong.
Yes.
I don't know at what point, I don't care how early it is into a season, where you just fire a guy. And I don't think the Jets were right in firing Saleh because, even if you fire him, not saying he was helping anything over there, when you're firing Saleh, you at least have to ask yourself the question of, is it going to hold back my defense in any kind of way? You ask yourself those kinds of questions where it's like, is it really worth it for us to fire our coach this early? I have no idea what this team would be missing out on if he got fired tomorrow. I really don't. I don't get why they don't just do it. And especially if they drop this game, I think it has to be done.
Flowers, you know what I mean? Seasoning, plants.
ESP, of course, had a. I'm going to find it.
Listen, I don't think guys are like at the professional level, like actively looking to get fired. Right. So if what we're saying is true, that it's still his offense, that being him, meaning Nick, then that would mean he's actively trying to get fired. Or the offense has been catered to who?
Yeah.
This shit is not hard. This offense is being catered to the throws that Jalen Hurts is confident in making. Throws that aren't going to create turnovers.
And
you saw motion, and you saw those things, and we saw not taking care of the football. So they start to dial it down a little bit, dial it down, to the point now this past week, they ran, it was his plays per se. The plays Jalen likes to run, right? Doesn't turn the football over, right? They're probably going to have that same type of offense this week again. So who are they catering it to?
And it makes it even more curious, because when you hear at least statements from Jalen, he wants, it's what he said at the end of last year, right? He doesn't want all down the field throws. He wants stuff over the middle, but then we never see it though. So it just, it even muddles up even everything when that doesn't happen. And that's what Jalen says is his best throws, but we don't see it ever. I don't know. I'm so confused with this team, and I'm so confused with, offense looking great one day and then just absolutely garbage the next. And it's bananas. It's absolutely bananas.
It's just, it is what it is. I mean, if the problem that's making it even more bananas is we're trying to figure out, because listen, I'm anti-Nick too. I said this to a guy today. Like, I'm not pro-Nick, but I'm telling you, you think the guy's actively trying to get fired. You think Kellen Moore is just going to come in here and rip up his whole playbook? Actively looking to get fired.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they're trying to keep their job and play to their quarterback strengths. I'm just giving guys another reason. But it's easy to say when you're a pom-pommer, Nick's getting too involved. All right.
Well, I think he's definitely getting too involved because, I mean, what we did see over the course of 2022 was throws over the middle. And that guy's gone. And it's kind of similar to when Doug lost Frank Reich. He wanted to hire his own people, didn't. Towards the end of his, stuff, Wentz didn't look the same. Then it was saying, who's really in charge? Is he in charge? You don't know. I mean, we really just don't know. But the main thing is for me, as when you look at a coach here in Philadelphia, the media and the fan base will do whatever they can to drive you out of town, right? So the main thing you got to do, and I heard it talked about on ESPN this week, Buddy Ryan didn't win a single playoff game here, but they respected the hell out of him, and they still do. I hear it. I wasn't even alive for that. I hear it now to this day. But when you act like such a buffoon and you to that much of a level, you're running yourself out of town. Play sheets, X's and O's regardless. He's doing this in front of the cameras. He's doing this to himself. He's making enemies with people that try each and every day to run people out of town. You're putting your face right then and there. So, yeah, to answer your question, I do think he's trying to lose his job. Or he's that stupid that he doesn't realize it. There's no other way to answer it. There's no other way to answer it.
There is, though.
I just don't think I just don't understand. And I get it. The quarterback has not looked the same since 2022. This guy's such a clown. It's not like Doug where he doesn't act that way and he'll go up in front of the presser and say all the right things. I think this guy is just so immature that I have to blame him. I have to. He does things too direct for me not to blame him. He's too much of a child for me not to blame him. I have to assume it's him. He makes me think that way.
Okay. Or he's taking blame for the bad plays.
But he didn't do that in 2022 when the other guy was here.
We didn't make many bad plays in 2022.
Right. So who left? Who's gone?
Well, forget who's gone and who's not, and let's not do this again. We did, like, not you specifically, but let's not do this again as a fan base and act like Frank, like we did back then. Nobody was smarter than fucking Frank Reich. This is the same conversation. Nobody in the history of football was smarter than Frank Reich. The second Frank Reich left, everybody forgot how to coach. That's what happened. And Frank Reich didn't win shit in Indy. Okay, didn't win shit in Carolina. Right? Frank, really good offensive coordinator. Shane Steichen didn't create offenses around the league. Like, Shane Steichen isn't a fucking innovator of any sort. He's a really good football coach and he's smart. Okay, he's not some innovator. Sometimes you find some house money. Sometimes there's not enough tape on guys, right? And I think that's partially up to what 2022 is, right? 2022 is jump into the scene. And then guess what? Then guys make adjustments on you. The whole league adjusts to you when you're in an MVP conversation. The whole league adjusts to you when you're one of the last two teams standing. The league adjusts to you. So the question is he making the adjustment back? This doesn't mean that anything we're talking about, Nick being too handsy or anything else, that doesn't mean that's not true, right? I'm not, like, again, I want to try to separate the two as much as you can separate a quarterback and a coach and say, I do not believe they're going to run some goddamn high school offense per se, right? Knowingly going to lose their jobs if they don't win games. If it's not to help somebody, that wouldn't make sense to me. Like, out of all this, let's all sit here and let it try to make sense to us.
Right.
Like,
I think what really happened. I think what really happened was Frank Reich was perfect for Carson Wentz, and I think Shane Steichen was perfect for Jalen Hurts.
I don't know if Frank Reich was perfect for Carson Wentz. I think Frank Reich was a really good offensive coordinator.
But I think his scheme and what he wanted to do aligned perfectly with Wentz. And I think if you look at Indy, what they are trying to do, not really much so with Flacco, it's much different, but with Richardson in the game, it looks very, very, very similar to what we did in 2022, what they're trying to do. So I just think they were a match made in heaven. And yes, now that he's gone, maybe Jalen won't be the same guy. But you at least owe it to the player that you gave $250 million to bring in a new guy. And I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
So Kellen Moore comes here and runs somebody else's offense.
No, I just think leaving the coach in here doesn't solve anything. The head coach in here doesn't solve anything. So you owe it to the player at least to bring in a new head coach, at least. Because you can't get rid of both.
Listen, we can talk about that.
To that point, though, right? And this is what I was trying to find.
I'm not
Nick
saying
Sirianni's now
either.
4-0 after a bye, and he's 37-19 in his first 3 seasons as an NFL coach, which is 15th best in history and 3rd among active coaches.
I mean, yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with talent, though.
But I don't disagree with your premise. I'm just saying you set a huge precedence, a ginormous precedence, if you do it mid-season.
Yes.
If you sit there and you have another collapse like last year and it doesn't end the way you want it to, completely valid. But I think you set a humongous precedence, not only for the next guy, but you're talking about, future coaches. Who's going to want that job, knowing that you're going to win almost 3/4 of your games and it's still not good enough.
Right, but I also think this is so different when the whole league's laughing at you right now.
I don't disagree.
Like the whole league, when you do something that egregious and that's stupid, you basically are telling everyone I'm brainless. Going up to fans, being that guy, and admitting to literally every single bad decision that comes their way. Like, it's at some point you say he lost it. He just lost it.
Oh, I'm not going to disagree with any of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm here on to do. That's not what I'm here to do tonight. But like we can say he lost it and all this and that, blah, 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 blah. Kellen Moore calls the plays.
Yeah.
So we know this. So again, I'm going to say it. Why does the offense look catered to a certain guy? He's also in the film room. He's also making $250 million. He also has a big dick in the room, per se, right? So my question again comes down to: is that what we're watching? Like, is that what we're watching? Are we just catering a whole thing to the quarterback? Does the quarterback want this? I don't know. I mean, the rest of it can sound like a bunch of conspiracies, right? Like, we can get into big conspiracy theories tonight when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles and what goes on behind closed doors, and I'm not going to disagree with any of it. You know what I mean? But the one thing I will disagree with tonight, like I disagree with Frank Reich, is, my dude can play or he can't play. You can miss me. Everybody can miss me with a million coordinators. Like, great quarterbacks get coordinators' jobs.
Mm.
So, I mean, I understand it. Then it means he's not a great quarterback, and he needs that special type of offensive coordinator relationship, right? Which, again, I don't think what do you have, 1 year, 2 years with Steichen?
2, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he had a minute with him. So, 2 years of Kellen Moore, you might see some things unhinged that you didn't see before.
And people forget, too, when Sirianni first got here, Jalen did not look good in that first kind of run. And then he gave up play calling to Steichen. They made a run. They made a run to the playoffs. And then the next season happened. So I think it's totally
the first Tampa year.
Yeah, so I think it's totally reasonable to say that he was the perfect coordinator for him. Now, what that means for Jalen today, it can be taken a whole bunch of different ways. But when you talk about what your next move is and how you improve from here, because, I mean, I think it's safe to say we're not winning Super Bowl this year. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think we're going to win one. So how you improve from here, it's not getting rid of your quarterback, because you owe it to him to at least try something else. Because, again, we have a 3 or 4 year history of this guy peeking his head in, and every time he gets involved, it doesn't work.
Jalen Hurts was asked, I guess, at a press conference, why the ball isn't being thrown over the middle of the field. And his answer, in typical Jalen Hurts fashion, just hasn't panned out that way.
I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah, that can mean anything.
I don't know what anything means. Like, I don't know what any of it means. Honestly, like, I can sit here and say, like, I can't. This is why it's like hard to get emotional, win or lose with this football team. And winning does cure a lot of things, right?
Sure.
And going and playing good football, which we were hoping with Cleveland would come to fruition, and it didn't offensively, sort of put some things to rest. And I would like really begging for an offensive explosion, right? Where we can leave feeling good.
Yeah.
Where we can leave saying, okay, we saw things like Jalen was on time, Jalen was in rhythm, right? And just leave feeling good. I don't think we're asking
30 or 40 burger.
Yeah, I don't think we're asking for a lot. At least I don't think we are.
No, I mean, we came into the year thinking this offense on paper was going to drop 30, 40 a week. Obviously, we knew, reality was going to be different than expectations. But on paper, that's what this offense should, right? We have these weapons that we just, for some reason, can't get into the right spots unless it's a down the field throw.
No,
That's underthrown.
Underthrown for sure. Mark said Jalen answers questions like he's talking to the cops.
Yeah.
We only had healthy AJ Brown for 2 games. Yeah.
But we have enough weapons that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
For the teams that we played. You know what I mean? Like, we obviously won that Saints game without him. And the Tampa game, sure, everybody was out, but that shouldn't have stopped us from competing on the offensive end. We didn't even compete that game.
Right. And I think, to what you said earlier is a while back, you said about his Knicks record being a head coach here. I think you can look at a lot of things, like the Steelers somehow are over 500 every single year. And you look across the NFL right now, the Broncos are like 500. Like, there are some bad teams roster-wise that are winning games.
Yes.
And I think that when you look at us and we're in the middle of that pack at 3-2 with the talent that we have, I don't care about a record. It should look way better than it is. Because every single time out, they are, on paper, remarkably better than their opponent. Like
100%.
You could see 100%. Like Dallas is not good this year. Like all these teams aren't great. Even the NFC, San Francisco's 3-3. Everyone's beating up on each other. You have the talent. So that winning, I don't really care for it that much.
It's like I said,
how you win.
Yeah, it's like I said about the Tampa game, right? I mean, yes. Did we expect to win? Not necessarily, right? Did we have to win? No, but compete, right? And between a $250 million quarterback, and yes, you're going to throw money involved when you're talking about your quarterback. That's just how it is. Between your quarterback, you have what fans think is a top 5-7 tight end and a top 3 running back. You should look a lot better than the way you looked in that first half of that game. I'm not saying you had to go down there and win.
Yeah.
But you can lose a 24-21 game, right? You can lose a 28-24 game. But you went down there and you just rolled over on both sides of the football in the first half, and the offense was trashed the entire game, right? But missing AJ and Devontae at that point, you knew they were missing, right? So you game planned that way, and we game planned. I don't know what we game planned. The comment we had up there earlier about the scripted plays, I've mentioned it almost every show. How bad we are coming out of the gate with those, with the 15 or so scripted plays, and maybe the commenter, I think it was Jay, but maybe the commenter, was right, and Nick is involved in that. And I mean, I guess it's why you script the plays, right? I mean, you want to see what the defense is going to do, but I don't know. We got to do something, because if we don't score in the first quarter again, even though in MetLife, it's going to get hostile up there.
Yeah. Totally. And that to me is totally on the coach. And Saquon does not touch the ball enough at all in the first quarter. At all.
No.
And I saw something about, Tom Brady said this after the Dallas game. He's talking about how Dallas is always playing from behind. And why is that? Why can't they get off to quicker starts? And he says a lot of times they try to trust their run game in the beginning, but they can't, because it's not what they're good at.
Right.
And it forces them, okay, now we're down 14. We got to throw the ball. And it doesn't really allow you. Yeah, and it doesn't allow you to establish an identity. And I look at our team, and we kind of do it where we're trying to establish the pass early. And it hasn't worked. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I have to say, look, I just paid this guy $35 or so million in my backfield. Why isn't that what I want to establish right out the gate?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. And if you believe the Reddit post and the whole, theory behind why Sirianni went over and chirped at the guy, because he apparently was yelling what we all yell from our couches. Your first play of the game is a 5-yard run, and then he doesn't touch the ball for another quarter.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, I get you wanted to maybe take a shot on second down, and then, probably 3rd down and 5 is not an ideal run, but why not 3? Why not give it the ball 3 times in a row and see if we can get a first down? Get some offense. Well, I've always said this, because I know we went through this, Tommy, you and I, just because we've been doing it for so long, went through it with Doug, right? And how we always threw early kind of Luke, to your point, right? We threw early, as you mentioned with the Cowboys, and we ran late. But our offensive line is so much better run blocking than it is pass blocking. And then especially when you add guys like for injuries, right? So like Fred Johnson's playing this week for Mailata. What's easier? What's easier for an offensive lineman to get in a game by going forward and run blocking, or putting him on his heels and pass blocking? I just feel like from an offensive line standpoint, to get those boys rolling early, it's not going to be every play, right? But let's establish the run early, because then you're going to be in the game. You're not going to be out of the game, in 3 possessions because you've only had 6 plays or 9 plays because you throw incompletes all the time.
Yeah, and listen, you get 5 yards on first down, and it's like, oh, you two want to take a shot. Well, why is there a problem with going and getting 2 or 3 more?
Yeah,
and setting yourself up for a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, and now you have the option to do both.
Right.
You could run it again, or you could take a shot, especially when you're a team on 4th and inches that's going to go for it. So when you're that type of team, that allows you to run the ball on 2nd down after you get 5 yards on 1st down. Even depending on what the look you get.
Yeah.
All right, let's give our score predictions.
You said it's 4, Luke, 3.5.
I think it went down to 3 just now on the dot. And heavy money is, it's at 3. And 87% of money's on the Eagles on DraftKings. So that is not a good sign.
But yeah, Eagles roll. 34-17.
Oh.
Oof.
I like it. I kind of like it. Uh, 28-20.
I'll go
Spurs, of course.
20-19. Spurs.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Sneak it out.
I love it. Luke's like me from 2018, 2017, 2018.
Oh my goodness. Player of the game. Imagine if I said Saquon Barkley after the poll question, and I'm rushing for 3. I'll go Devontae Smith. I'm gonna go $140. $140 and 2 touchdowns.
Oh my God! Sorry, Kike hit another homer.
Did he hit another homer on you? Oh my God, he is the best.
He's the greatest. He's the greatest.
He was right. He was right. Joe Davis is right this whole time.
7-0. No, I'm sorry.
No.
Shohei hit it.
Yeah,
Ohtani hit it.
Shohei hit it. It's amazing, though. He's so good.
He's decent. I think he'll make it.
Somebody I saw online somewhere wanted to compare him and in the leadoff hole or something, like, oh, when they're going to move Ohtani out of the leadoff or something along the lines of him struggling. And I'm like, would you shut up, please? I don't even know who it was. I couldn't remember. He's pretty good, though. I think that hit the over. Was it 6.5, or is it 7 right on the dot? 7.5. 7.5. Yep, we know how this is going to end.
Probably not where you want to throw a fastball.
Early reports on McCain right now is that he's actually being evaluated for a concussion. So, personally, I'd rather hear that than anything chest related. That's definitely better.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of how long he'd be out for. So, that's good.
Yeah, I guess it's good. Yeah. I mean, it looked like he was having trouble breathing. That's what they said.
Yeah, it looked that way too. It looked like more of a chest rib injury. Yeah, I don't know. This is Jared McCain being evaluated for concussion. So we'll see.
His head buried on the baseball. That's what these kids don't get.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude's head is sniffing the baseball on that swing. He really did a scratch and sniff. Back in the day.
Smell the bat burn with the ball.
Right. Yeah, so I'll go Devontae. $140, 2 tutties.
Whoa. We got aggressive.
Well, I got
He
34
does like
points.
to play well against the Giants.
I like
feel
it, though.
Yeah.
I
And,
like it.
and after AJ has a big week, you know how
He
that
usually
goes.
does flip back. Yep.
Sometimes you just can't stop AJ anyway. So,
Yeah.
But they're going to
He's
try
so good.
to.
He's so good.
And they got a good defense. I just think this is a week where we haven't taken the football over a bunch since week 1, I feel like. So, we're due for some turnovers. So maybe it's a week where we get a couple from Danny Dimeless. And here we are. And we get set up for some good field position. Maybe kick some field goals if we, need to. But, we're really good in the red zone this week.
Yeah.
We get down there and we're getting tutties. We're finding ways. I mean, that's fan sleeping. Oh my God. I can't even troll him. They knocked us out. I was out cold. Out cold in the 8th inning.
Was he wearing a grimace mask?
Nah, it's just a regular old Mets hat. Go offense player game, guys. Sorry. Thought we were through that.
Go ahead, Luke.
I guess I'll go Saquon. Why not? Feel like you have to. And defensive, I'll give. Oh, are we doing that yet?
No, hold
No,
on.
give it out. Shoot it out. It don't matter.
I want to give he's not going to be my player of the game, but I really want to give a shout to Fred Johnson, who's going to play for Mailata. He's going to go up against Brian Burns. So he's got to play well. But I'll take the number 1. I'll take the quarterback. He's got to play well. He's got to not turn the ball over again, right? We need another game of him not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And he's shown spots last week where he played well. It wasn't early, right? It wasn't early. We weren't in a rhythm. So let's go, Jalen.
Martian. Fred Johnson sounds like my dentist. You're the best, bro. You're the best. Now Jalen's the one who needs to play well. I just didn't want to be the one to take him.
Yeah, I'll take him because I'll be there and I'll boo him. No,
Luke,
can't boo.
No, you're not on the boo.
No,
Luke, you had your defensive player. Who was it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Quinyon. I think he's due. He should have had that.
Why
pick.
I gave it to you.
Yeah,
I gave it to you. I knew it.
Yeah,
I was going there.
It's got to be him. At some point, he's gonna get that pick. You should have had it last week. He's pissed that he didn't. I love how confident he is. Normally, a rookie would never say something to a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
He went at him.
He didn't. Yeah, he did not care. Yeah, he did not care. So I loved
it too. I loved it too because you could tell that was built on them being around each other, right? That was built on they know each other well enough to where like I know I can go at you, right?
You even heard AJ saying like, yeah, like I got my reps in on him in practice, but when he got one on me, he let me know.
Yeah. And you like that though.
Yeah.
And getting to go against a guy like AJ Brown, Devontae Smith in practice ain't gonna hurt you getting better if you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't gonna hurt you going against 2 guys like that. Defensively, I'm gonna go Jalen Carter.
Damn you.
Give me a 2-sacker and a forced fumble.
Nice. I'll go to guy that's been on a milk carton for the entire year. Let's go Bryce Huff.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's go Bryce Huff. 1.5 sacks.
Wow.
Ooh.
1.5 because he's got to get at least one over Coop, right? Coop's got him right now by 1/2 sack. So he's got to get 1.5 to get over him. But you can't be 1/2 sack away from a rookie cornerback.
Not ideal.
As one of the highest paid guys on that defensive line.
Definitely not ideal. Well, let's go 4-2.
Let's do it. Let's get a dub.
4-2, a lot better than 3-2.
I mean, that's how bad the NFL is. That we could be 4-2. We should be 4-2. That's
should be what 4-1 right now. What are we? I don't even know.
3-2.
3-2. So we should be 4-1 in reality.
Yeah, we should.
What you want to count the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
That's the one you're going at. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm going with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
that's either by running the ball or catching the football, right? Either game plan, right?
The fucking ball.
Just catch the football
and run the ball. But
or run it, right?
First off, start by running the ball. If you're going to throw the ball, I need a guy getting paid $16 million to fucking
catch it.
Or 13, whatever the hell it is. I need you to catch the football.
I mean, remember how the Colts lost the playoffs by throwing to like the third stringer last year? Like they didn't. It was the last play of the game, and they didn't even throw it to Jonathan Taylor to where he missed it. They went to like a third string running back and expected him to catch the ball. We went to our top guy at least.
Yep.
But big dub. We need a big dub.
Martian.
No, I'm not betting anything because it'll lose the way I'm rolling right now. It'll lose. I did see that clip, Martian. That was funny. I wasn't always the biggest BG fan, but the trash talk always gets me laughing my ass off.
And now that we're sitting here kind of talking about this, and you said it's catered to Jalen. He's not throwing the ball over the middle of the field. A little bit of a coincidence that he did not turn the ball over for the first time all season doing that.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned that when I said it.
Yeah.
Like the reason you go back to what he does is because that's going to protect the football. And like you go from motion, you go to other things, and you score more points, right? But then you have 2 or 3 turnovers. And you sort of go back to, okay, and maybe it's just a game plan versus that team.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're not going to score, don't allow them. And listen, not everything Nick does might not be him being a moron.
Right.
Like, let's call that too. Like, I mean, as much I've been on this guy, right? You know, and I ain't run from, but as like time goes, I also want to be fair, right? Because we're here to analyze. We try to think a little deeper. Right. And you made a great point. Right. And, and I think that's where it stems from. You got a lot of turnovers week 1. You got a lot of motion. You score 30 points, but it's hectic. So you come a Cleveland game and you're like, dude, if we just take care of the football, we get out with a win. That's all the game. That's all we really care about right now. You take care of the football, you get out with a win, right? Without the blocked field goal. Okay. You're talking about it. You win that game by 13 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the game becomes a lot different without that. I'm not saying what ifs. I'm just saying, like, they didn't score 7 offensively, and that's at minimum a field goal, right? Mini field goal at worst. So when I look at that, maybe that's the reason. And you might see, that's why I said you might see a similar game plan this week.
Yep.
Because it's another offense that you don't expect to beat you.
Yeah.
So don't give them those opportunities to put themselves in, whatever, pick 6, stuff like that. You don't give them those opportunities. So we'll see. Because this week's just about getting a win. I mean, you're trying to fight to win this division. I know we're 5 games in. It's gonna be 6, but that happened quick. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be 6 games in. That's quick. There's 11 games left. Not that many. So it's a big game.
And
now we're in big game time.
And the division has kind of been turned upside down at Washington already, right? Washington's a really good football team.
Yeah, they'll be done by week 9.
As of right now, though, they're still a good football team.
Yeah, I don't know how, but they'll be done by week 9. Or maybe they won't be, because of your point. They're playing well, and they got some veterans in there too that I didn't even realize. So
yeah.
They're like you talk about being good up the middle. They're pretty good defensively up the middle when you talk about Jonathan Allen and you got Fred. I mean, not Fred Warner. Goodness gracious, that would have been a problem. Bobby Wagner,
yeah.
And I know he's 50, but he's still a vet.
Yeah, we'd find a way to not be able to use him though.
Yeah, a defense head coach. So
and it's a second go around too. He's failed before.
Yeah, that'll fail again. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. Some guys find. Listen, dude. If if that's the quarterback, right? Which I think a lot of us think it is. We think it is. Being fair, even though we're not Commanders guys.
Yep.
Right. that second tenure might be better than the first. Right?
mean,
It goes back to my point, though. It goes back to the whole point. We can talk about other organizations and have the same conversation and be like, yo, if that's the dude, like Caleb Williams, if that's the dude, everybody's job's good.
Yeah.
Everybody's job's good because you're winning 12, 13 games a year.
Yeah. I mean, look at Todd Bowles in Tampa, right, with Baker. Right? Todd Bowles is his second time around being a head coach.
Yep.
And it wasn't until, he got their, reclamation project like Baker to come in, and now they're rolling around. You know what I mean? They're playing really good football.
My bad, guys. Sorry, my bad. Bert, everybody. I didn't know.
I didn't realize he was out for the year either.
I'm not paying attention to a Commanders game.
Yeah, they're the Redskins. I mean, Commanders.
Say it, Craig. Say it with your chest out. The Indians play tomorrow night.
Yes, let's go Indians.
Like they play tomorrow night, and I'm not. It's actually disgraceful to change the name.
Mm-hmm. After that long, absolutely.
All right, but no. So I do think, all jokes aside, I do think they're better. They're definitely better than maybe what I thought they were going to be right off the bat. But again, let's wait for some adjustments on a rookie quarterback. Because it's going to come, and I don't necessarily. Most rookies aren't going to necessarily adjust to that right away.
He looked mortal against Baltimore, right? Had some good plays, but looked mortal.
Yeah,
looked like a normal rookie.
Yep, exactly. Because he's a rookie. He's going to have those. Habib says, before we get out of here, what trade do you think Howie might make? Well. I would say edge guy, but I don't like an edge rusher, D end, whatever you want to call it, in a 3-4. But I would think something like that. But again, I don't necessarily know because he has some money tied up there.
Yeah.
And assets. So I don't necessarily know.
I think it's definitely edge. I mean, even when he had money in there like Reddick, he got smaller names like Robert Quinn, and that didn't work out. But he's done
Robert Quinn.
He's done stuff like that before. I think it's going to be a very similar kind of move. I don't think it's going to be someone that they expect to walk in and be immediately 10 times better than Bryce Huff, even, or even will play more than Bryce Huff. I think they're just going to get a veteran who they trust a little bit, or they can at least throw into the fire. Because that's a position where, yes, I forget his name already, Robert Quinn. Yes, that didn't work out, but you didn't really lose all too much by doing that.
This is the only place Robert Quinn hasn't worked out.
Yeah,
He's been awesome his entire career. He gets here,
You're
all
right.
of a sudden he's hurt and just is a guy, right?
Yeah.
It's such our luck, though.
Yeah, you're right.
18 sacks last year. He was healthy.
Nothing here. I don't even. He was Bryce Huff style, bad.
And he just looked like he aged 55 years.
Yeah, he looked like he was really old.
How old are you, Robert? 72?
I like the Zadarius Smith idea, though. That's probably my favorite name.
Because he can't be that old, right?
No. I mean, the way the NFL works, you're going to have to get them to – they have no leverage. They're going to want to pay off some of his money to get rid of him. So I'm totally
he's
cool
32.
with that. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely older, but I think you can get them to pay some of his salary because they don't really have another choice.
Where's Clowney at?
Clowney's in Carolina, I think.
Yes, he is.
I'll take Clowney.
I mean,
that's another
New
one
Orleans.
of those low level, to your point, Luke, right? That's that perfect name, right? Clowney.
Or maybe a team like New Orleans.
$23 million.
Where's Zadarius Smith?
Yeah.
That's not a lot of money.
So we would have him next year.
Yeah, who knows if that's even guaranteed, even.
Well, there's a buyout potential out after 1 year, $12 million, $14 million cap after this year.
Oof, that's a lot.
Dead cap. So he'd be here for 2 years.
I don't know I think it'll be a 1-year rental. That's typically what he does. Is he gets guys where he can come in and come out. I think Clowney was a 1-year deal.
I think he's a 1-year
Could be
deal.
wrong.
I think he is too.
And even a guy like Chase Young over in New Orleans, I mean, they're falling apart. I think, what are they, 2-4 now or something like that?
The media darling early on.
Yeah, so if they continue to drop and their division is only winning, I feel like at that point maybe you give up and you get rid of some of these guys. He's on a 1-year deal too, I think. Yeah, they're 2-4, and Atlanta and Tampa are already 4-2.
2 years, $20 million for Clowney. His out after this year is a $10 million, $6 million dead cap hit. If you cut him after this year.
How old is he now?
He's 31 this year. Next year he'll be 32.
That's fine. I'll take him for 2 years.
Like even Darius Smith, I'd take him for the 2 years, right? Like so you don't have to eat that dead cap.
Another one.
Another homer?
Yep.
Oh, yes. Who was it? Ohtani again?
No, Muncy.
Oh, but Alonso is not coming back up. Damn it.
Oh, my God.
Chase Young is the most interesting one out of them.
I like Chase Young.
1-year deal. Only 25 years old, though. Like, that's potentially. He's a 1-year deal in New Orleans. 13 mil, so obviously you prorate that, right, for whatever it is. He would be an unrestricted free agent next year, so it's literally a rental. But at 25, you potentially bring in somebody that you potentially look to re-sign. But with that being said, this is his third team early on in his career.
He's been bound. I mean, he's just been looking for that contract, so he keeps trying to do 1-year prove-it deals. It hasn't really worked out.
He was traded to San
Francisco, and now
San Fran let him go, and now he's signed with the Saints.
He did the 1-year prove-it deal, and it hasn't really worked out.
And it hasn't really worked out for the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah,
I'd take the chance. What's it going to do? Not work out? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I would totally take the chance.
Absolutely, sign me up. I mean, I think he's a semi-loser, but sign me up.
Yeah, I think there's definitely issues. Which
I think
I was trying to be nice and just say he's been on a lot of teams, but
yeah, I won't be. I think he's got semi-loser in him, but I'll take the upside. What do I got to lose for you?
Yeah, I'll take the youth and the upside. Right, absolutely.
Like maybe another move, somebody trading you, maybe wakes you up a little bit. I don't know. Wait for a guy to click in. Maybe it clicks in. Maybe it never does for the guy.
Yeah.
But maybe if it clicks in for him, maybe you got a double-digit sack guy in a specimen, because that's what he has the capabilities of being.
That's what he always. That's what he wasn't at Ohio State. Bums.
Well, he got hurt too. So early on, when he tear the ACL, right?
Yeah, or right at the start of his career. Yeah.
So, but I'll take a chance. All right, boys. Anything Phillies wise before we get out of here? And we're talking about everybody coming back.
Yeah, I didn't truly expect them to. Move on from him, but the extension is what got me, right? Like let him work out the contract. You know what I mean? Like let him coach out the contract and then maybe reevaluate after you maybe don't collapse again. But and I understand a lot of it is what you say on October 10th or 11th, whenever it was said, but that we're bringing back everybody. Essentially, we're going to run it back again. Was kind of shocking. It looks like obviously a guy that a lot of people had up in the air, and Marsh is back, right? He's got workouts specifically for Rojas and Taiwan. So it'll be interesting to see what was GM speak after a year and what was reality, right? But I think the biggest takeaway for me, though, is the stone cold lock that Trey Turner's the shortstop and that he thought he wasn't as bad as the numbers say. And it almost felt like that he was shocked and thrown off and not prepared for that question.
Yep.
Because the naked eye could look at Trey Turner and say he wasn't a good shortstop this year. And then Dombrowski going to try. And I get it. Like you said, part of this is GM speak, but where I think I've not want to say battled with, the front office, but where I've had questions of the front office is their definitive stances on some of these issues, right? Like Trey Turner's our shortstop. Okay. But you're not open to it, right? You're like, that's the definitive statement, right? Bryce Harper at the time is our first baseman. Now, granted, had a great year. I'm not saying we're moving on from Bryce Harper, but what would it have cost to put him back in right field or left field for half the year and use first base as kind of a catch-all for some of our guys, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just those definitive answers to certain things just pinhole you and pigeonhole you to where you have to be that. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't Bryce Harper be our version of Cody Bellinger? 2 games a week he plays out in the outfield, 2 games a week he plays, you know what I mean? Plays at first base. Again, this isn't a knock on Bryce Harper. It's just the definitive of that move, which then now pigeonholes us as our catcher is going to be 34 years old, as we have a left fielder that plays only one position, or a DH and a left fielder that can only play. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cement yourselves into these moves that in time come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, the Turner one, I don't think he's taken back by it. I think he obviously knows it, right? But what's he going to say right there?
Right.
And this to defend that response from Dombrowski. Like, he's not going to be like, yeah, you know what? We really consider moving him to center field. Maybe hasn't even talked to him yet about anything. So, like you said, some of it's just GM speak, right? President of baseball operations speak.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that's sort of how I take those. You know how I feel about press conferences.
No, absolutely.
Unless you get some, you're not wrong on them being, taking their stands and pigeon-toeing themselves and all that is 1,000% correct. I'm just strictly talking about the Turner part where I get you not being like, yeah, we're going to play him in center. Like, we haven't even talked to him, but yeah, we're going to test him out there. Because you got to be, these guys got to be careful and fragile with some of these losers' ego.
No, I get that. I once the guy started rolling out numbers though, and Dombrowski starts trying to defend Trey and saying as he gets older, he's gonna improve more defensively because he works hard. I'm just like, did you watch all year, Dave?
Yeah.
Did you watch all year?
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But that was really it. Interesting. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see what was GM speak out on October 10th or whatever, and what comes to fruition as we get in. I'm still locking in Juan Soto.
Absolutely.
In left field next year.
No question about it. All right, boys. Go
and
Birds.
Mike Trout in center.
Sixers open up next Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
And B going to be playing next Wednesday night?
Oh, it'll be a perfect show for you guys. That'll be a perfect show for you guys with me out.
That's the real reason he's out.
Yeah.
He knew.
And B will be in.
I actually didn't know that I should have threw them in there instead of the Phillies. But that's funny.
Man, what's the chance PG plays next Wednesday?
They say it's a total toss-up. I mean, he's getting reevaluated in a week from the injury, so that kind of lays him to be right before. So I feel like what's likely to happen is that they reevaluate him and then they call him day to day. And then after that, it kind of is a legit toss up as to what happens. And maybe he's all horned up to go out there and he plays a little bit on a minute restriction. I can see that happening. But the good news about this team, which I like a lot, is, you see a guy like, not Paul George, obviously, because he's more like very valuable as one of your 3 best players. You see a guy like McCain go down. I was excited for him to play. I do like the depth that they have with Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon, kind of the veterans that can play some bigger spots and fill in minutes there for him. So it's different in terms of years past where you're looking at shoving a guy like Furkan out there. Or
be careful about my son.
I know, but yeah, I was not a fan. So you shove guys like Furkan out there versus veterans like Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon, get those guys more minutes. So
yeah,
it's something to look forward to.
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. We know how it's going to end, but looking forward to it. Looking forward to the start of it. All right, boys. Great show.
Good shit.
See you Sunday night after a big win. Monster win. We'll see you Sunday night where all things are going to be right. All things will be right Sunday
all
night.
is right left in the world.
We won't be able to find a loss after Sunday. That's Greg Mwakovic. That's Luke Brown. I'm Tom Arnone. We love you. We thank you. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. Stay with us, family. Go Birds.
Go Birds.